right.
The Meathead Roundtable.
The Meathead Roundtable. The first time we've done all three of us on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've been like the mediator because it's always me or Justin or me or you.
Yeah.
You gotta be the host.
I'm the host today. I'm James Duthie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ron McLean.
Why are you wearing that hat though?
Well, I'll tell you the real reason why, because I've already given up on them like a long time ago. It's because I accidentally wore my movement hat while I was working out, and it has sweat stains on it, and I need to wash it. So I put this one on for a couple days. That's the only reason why. Do I believe in them?
Sure.
No. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm
He's
a
just
hopeless
embarrassed.
fan. Yeah, I mean.
He's already got his like excuses listed out on why he's wearing the hat.
Yeah. He's like, well,
I have a
opens up his notes app.
I have a limited number of hats, so yeah. So for today's episode, we've got, like we said, the Meathead Roundtable. Had a couple of members from the gym come up to me while I was working out and ask about why their lifts were not progressing, why they've been stuck at a certain number for so long. And I thought that this was a good opportunity. Even though sometimes I think the three of us are a little bit of an echo chamber, it would be good to get three different opinions as to why, what you could do to try to push through that. Maybe some of us will be more harsh. Maybe some of us will be a lot kinder and stuff. But I thought that that was a good opportunity to discuss that. Why do people get stuck in the gym? So I don't know if we just want to open up right off the hop.
Yeah, I mean, I can start just like from the perspective of these are probably group fitness members that are coming up to you, right? And in reality, group fitness is great. And, you know, if you're coming in for 1 hour a day, 2, 3, even 5 days a week, that's awesome. But it's not necessarily going to be programmed that we're doing whatever said lift every single week. So there's number one, consistency with what you're doing. And yes, it's in the programming, but also at the same time, we have to take into consideration all the things that are going to be best for the most number of people. And then that's what is presented as the programming. So it's kind of a shot at me, but also an explanation as to why. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that I probably noticed the most is that people don't go at a high enough intensity with their lift. So typically we like to say that we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, whatever the rep scheme is, we should be working at about 8 to 8.5 RPE, so out of 10. And what that means, like easily visualized, would be how many reps do you have remaining? So you take your RPE, you subtract it from 10. So if we're talking about an 8 RPE, you subtract that from 10. 2 is the number that you get. When you're finished your set, you should have at most 2 reps remaining in the tank. And that's for all of your working sets, not just your last set, not just your second last and your last set, but for all of your sets. And I think that that's the thing that's lost the most.
All right, podcast over. Podcast is over. That's
there we go. Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah, we had already kind of talked about that, you and I, Dave,
Yeah.
where it's like the frequency is a big factor, and that's just the reality of group fitness. Like you said, you're kind of just basically getting generally prepared, so you need to keep it a little bit more varied. Not everyone's showing up for maybe like the same sessions every week too. Sometimes they're at a different day. So things kind of change, and they're a little bit limited there. But the other thing is definitely that intensity. Like people don't necessarily feel confident to push themselves to that same, like that threshold with strength work, especially in like a group fitness class too, where you're like going and it's a limited time. I always try to say like, hey, I'm putting 20 minutes on the clock. You have 4 sets. Try to get through all exercises in 5 minutes, but like be close to finishing that last exercise at that 5 minutes, because you want to be taking some time in between the sets. Like you want to be going hard enough that you are having to rest before going on to the next exercise. And time again, you just see people like one exercise, next exercise, and it's almost like a circuit, rather than, hey, we're doing strength on the deadlift, and then you're catching your breath, and then you're doing strength on shoulder presses, and then catching your breath, and then, you know, resting until the next set
Yeah,
So
that's one of the things I notice the most in like the novice weight trainer, is that they're actually done really quickly. So just like Kevin was saying, one thing, next thing, and then immediately don't even change the weights, go back to the next thing. Before you know it, 7 minutes have passed and they've done 4 sets. Like, one of the reasons why I don't participate in a lot of group classes is because I literally need like an hour and a half to do a set of back squat, or to do a back squatting session or a deadlifting session, not just the warm-ups but all the working sets and the rest in between and all that, right? So I think that people need to take their time a little bit more, and if you don't want that rest, the intensity is probably not high enough, right? It's not hard enough for you to desire that rest, and that's kind of an indication for yourself as well. If you want to go right back into it, it's like, oh, maybe it wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, I think like building off of that and what you're talking about with RPE, it takes a long time to know what an RPE actually is. Like, what is my RPE? What does 2 reps left in the tank actually feel like? Because I think a lot of people do that and they're like, yeah, I probably could have only done 2 more. And if we really put it to the test, they might be able to bang out another 10. Right?
Oh yeah.
And like, there's a lot of ways to test that. Number one, just get them to keep going and be like, there it is. You could have done more. That's not what an RPE feels like. And once you finally know what that feels like, now you have a better idea. But the whole idea of the rest, like, yeah, if you're 45 seconds into a rest period and you're like, I feel ready to go again, then it probably wasn't an RPE 8. You
Bump
need
up that weight.
Yeah, you need that extra time to fully recover to be able to do that next set again. So, I mean, I understand, because like sometimes being able to train at an appropriate intensity, it's a little bit intimidating for some people, right? Because a lot of people, like, you can still feel like you're working hard, but it still feels comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And it's about understanding that there has to be like some level of discomfort if you're going to be stressing your body enough to a point where it's going to adapt.
Yeah, you kind of have to understand how uncomfortable you can actually get to realize how comfortable you are.
Exactly.
Like, you have a lot more that you can, instead of like just kind of feeling, be like, oh, this is like a little bit difficult, so that's deemed as uncomfortable and a higher intensity. It's like, you have a lot left in the tank after that.
Yeah.
Before you actually like hit failure.
I love the rep out like test, especially with someone who's newer. It's like, does that feel like an 8 out of 10 to you? And like, yeah, I think so, right? It's like, okay, on the next set, we're actually going to rep it out. Kind of like tell them, but don't tell them. It's like, okay, do one more. Okay, do one more. Okay, do one more. I'm right here. If it's like a bench press, I'm here to spot you. Do one more. All of a sudden, they do 8 more than what was prescribed. It's like, okay, so you actually were working at an RPE of 2, so to speak, right? So that's the difference between 2 and 8. Like, that's you can really push a lot more weight than you think you can.
Yeah. And like, ultimately what we're talking about, you're talking about frequency. How often are you actually doing the lift? What intensity are you working at? How much rest are you taking? Like, there's other aspects of this, but the whole underlying principle of all this is all of these things that we're talking about is providing enough stress to your body so that it says, I need to build back stronger so that I can withstand that next time and be better. So whether it's frequency, whether it's total volume, maybe it is adding some extra reps or extra weight or extra sets, adding into the volume too. Like, we did a video on this on the pull-ups, right? It's like, okay, maybe you only have so much in the tank to be able to do a couple of sets of pull-ups where it feels like you're actually getting something out of it. But then, like, what are the other exercises you're doing throughout the week? Are you doing more to target the muscles and the joints that are required to do a pull-up to get better at those pull-ups? Like, are you also doing lat pull downs, other types of pulling motions at a high enough intensity?
Curls.
Yeah, curls.
Right? Pull-ups is always a funny one because people only set the bar at one body weight pull-up, right? So let's say you're like a 150-pound person, and that is the benchmark. That is the standard. It's like, why can't I do this? But you don't feel that way about a one rep bench press of 150, right? Necessarily, you don't feel like you're not enough because you can't do a 150-pound bench press, but you feel that way about a pull-up, right? So lat pull downs is obviously a good thing. It's not super accessible in a huge functional gym. You're not going to have like 8 of them set up, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, just changing your mentality around something like a pull-up to be like, okay, well, like instead of the 150-pound weight, where should I actually begin to help increase my strength? Maybe it's like 70 pounds. So like strap on some bands, get some assistance in whatever way that is, and start there. Just like any other exercise where you're lifting weight.
That's one thing. People don't treat it the same. So it's like when you think, oh, I'm increasing my other exercise, it's like, yeah, you work at a weight that you can manage, push it pretty hard, and then gradually increase it over time. But you get people who are like, I'm going to get my first pull-up, and what do? It's like everything goes out the windows, and they're like, oh, I've heard negatives are really good. So they just start doing a bunch of like negatives, and it's like, well, you could just band up the pull-ups and like progressively load them over time until you just eventually reach that body weight pull-up, just like with any other exercise. Like it's not something special. It's just you're training the muscles of your body.
I think the other thing that can be said about RPE, because where we're saying like people will maybe hold back on intensity, I find, because there's that fear of potentially hurting themselves. But if you're in like that RPE 7 to 8 range, we've talked about risk of injury before. You're gonna most likely hurt yourself when you've done too much, too fast, you know, whatever that combination is. And in that 7 to 8 range, just like anything we do in life, there's always a potential inherent risk of injuring yourself. But at that 7 to 8 range, it's pretty low relative to other things. Like if you're going every set to absolute failure every single day that you're in the gym, then maybe that risk goes up. But there's not that much extra risk or much to worry about when you're working at an RPE 8 versus an RPE 3, right? So
it's 9 and 10 that you're really starting to get up there, and that's why we don't necessarily train at that intensity so frequently.
Yeah, exactly.
And even then, like one exposure to a 9 or 10 every few weeks is
the risk is still
like
so low.
Extremely low.
Yeah.
It's just, if you do that every single time, that's when the risk starts going up. But like one exposure to it every few weeks, or even like 2 exposures to it every few weeks, like the risk is extremely low.
I'm trying to remember the exact stat. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it's like somewhere between 4 and 7 injuries per like 100,000 hours of working out is the average rate of injury. It's extremely low.
Some are shown to be even lower, like 3.2 and stuff. So
yeah, because you got to look across like what population are you looking at? Super elite athletes working at crazy high intensities all the time, but
even movement to movement changes. So like the exercise. So
but I think just like anything, you have to, you don't necessarily have to go straight into your very next session of, okay, I'm going to find that true RPE 8, but if you know that you've been leaving quite a bit left in the tank, try to leave a little bit less in the next time you go in and try to work your way up to increasing that intensity over time. And I think that that's all the simple stuff. Like there's definitely other ways that you can try to work through a plateau, especially if you're a more experienced lifter. And like we just made a video on this, like silly looking exercises. Like why are you doing a crazy heavy Zercher hold? Well, because it actually targets certain areas that might be not necessarily a weak point, but something that you could work on that will then transfer over to another exercise. If you can get your upper back just crazy strong by doing a Zercher hold, then it's going to be a lot more resilient and strong during a deadlift or any other movement. So in terms of selecting maybe some other exercises that you can add into your week, however that might be, whether that's in an open gym session or just going to the gym yourself, prioritize what you're trying to get better at, do more of that, and do more of the things that will help contribute to making that better too.
The way I like to look at like the weak point is it's not like the body parts weak. It's just like with every movement, you're going to have a weak point, or like something is going to be the weakest, or like the way I would think about it before, because I loved chemistry when I was younger, it was like the rate limiting step, and that's what I just applied to working out. So it's like, okay, if you have something that is not quite keeping up and might be your limiting factor at that moment, the rate limiting step, you get that a little bit stronger, and it might help to unlock a lot more potential. Like with everything else, because you may be able to push a lot more when that is not holding you back quite as much. So just kind of flipping on its head, instead of being like, oh, my glutes are weak. It's like, no, they're just not quite as strong as your quads are in that movement maybe. So when you get into that position where your quads are kind of maxed out and you have to use your glutes a little bit more, they don't have the strength to kind of keep up. So strengthening them up a little bit more might help to stop that bottleneck.
Yeah.
But they're not weak.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I like to put a silly like positive spin on it. I have one client where like one side is definitely stronger than the other, and I'm like, okay, that's your good leg and that's your gooder leg.
Yeah.
Not like that's your bad leg, right? But it is something that needs to potentially be addressed and strengthened. So you're right. Like just because there's the bottleneck or the rate limiting thing, just work on that so that it can kind of get stronger and not limit you quite as much in the future. It doesn't mean that you have something wrong with you.
Yeah, I always love when people come up to us and say, oh, my physio said my glutes aren't firing. It's like, well, like, I mean, you'd be flopping right over into like a ball of a lump on the floor if your glutes weren't firing.
You wouldn't be able to walk. You wouldn't be able to walk up the stairs. Like you wouldn't be in here right now.
Yeah. So I always find that funny.
And like sometimes you see it. I was working with somebody and we were doing like single leg hip thrusts, and I was like, where are you feeling that? And she was like, in my shin. She was like, I don't think I'm doing it right. I'm like, you are, because you have a sandbag on your hips and you're going from down here to up here. So your glutes are working, your hamstrings are working. We're getting what we want out of it. You guys just, we're playing in a tournament. Your shins might be sore, so you're feeling it a little bit more there, right? So
try harder to feel it.
Yeah.
That's like, it sounds stupid, but like, try harder to feel it there.
You could also try to like visualize and just think about it a little bit more. But I also like to remind people, just because you don't feel it predominantly in a certain area doesn't mean that you're not doing it right or that it's not working either. Yeah.
I was explaining that as like, maybe the area that you're feeling it in is being worked closer to its maximum, so you're feeling it there. Maybe you're just more aware of that area. Maybe it's more sensitive. Right?
Maybe that's the rate limiting
factor. So it's okay that you're feeling it there, and you should be feeling it there and getting that stronger. We don't know, and it probably doesn't really matter. So like, as long as you're doing the movement well, so that you're like, if you're doing the movement well, the area you want to work is being targeted. That's fine.
We want to improve your hip extension, so we are extending at the hip.
Yeah,
right.
Simple.
Yeah.
And whether you feel it there or not, are we progressively overloading it over time? Yes. Okay, we're getting better. Hip getting better. But yeah, I don't know if you guys had any other points to add to plateaus.
No, I mean, at a certain point you're going to be near the physiological peak of what your body can actually handle, right? So it is what it is. And you slowly go into a decline of old age, like me.
Said that today. You were like, it's all downhill. Once you're at the top, there's only one way.
But it's just like, whatever, just slow that down as much as possible. And then, like, if I'm like 70 or 80 years old and 90% as strong as I am right now, then hey, I'm happy.
That's a huge
stronger
win.
than most people.
Yeah, and that's all relative, right? You're a strong dude. I'm not trying to pump your tires, but you're a strong guy. And so like when you're at a certain percentile of strength, then yeah, it's probably going to go down. But that doesn't mean that there's maybe a 50-year-old who's in the gym. That doesn't mean that they're only going down from where they are, because they still potentially, they might have that potential to build up even stronger, right?
Or they never reach their peak at like 30 or 20, right? Yeah.
And ultimately you want to do it as early as possible to get that reserve of bone density, muscle mass, familiarity with movement, and like good habits and stuff like that. But I mean, you see it all the time. You see like an 84-year-old ripping 700 pounds on a deadlift, and sure,
Kevin's dad.
Yeah. But it's possible. Like, age doesn't just mean decline, right? Like, that was a big topic that we had in one of our previous podcasts, but there's always potential to keep working forward, but you have to be consistent with it, push yourself hard enough so that your body will adapt to it. But also, like, I almost misinterpreted what you were saying. Like, you might get to a certain like peak, but that could be in like a cycle of training. You might just get to a point where maybe you've been pushing it a little bit too hard and your body's starting to get exhausted and it hasn't had enough recovery. So that's where things like a deload or just backing off just a little bit to let your body fully recover and readapt might be the thing that you need to then push forward in the future too. So it doesn't, where we're saying more people probably need to be working more intensely, there's also that subset of people that need to like take a little step back, just keep training appropriately and smartly, and then move forward again.
Yeah, because some people are just redlining every single time. They think every time I go in, it's 100%, and then the next day it's the same thing, 100% on like the same movements, and then they usually feel like crap, take a little bit too long off, and then they're not getting that consistency potentially. So actually kind of taking that step back and lowering some intensity to be in that sweet spot allows for more consistency and better long-term gains.
Yeah, one step back, two steps forward.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of the general gist of working through a plateau.
Yeah.
Work hard, be consistent.
Be patient.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. A lot of people think they're at a plateau because they haven't changed weights in like 3 weeks, and it's like, dude, it's only been 3 weeks. Like, you stick with it, and in 6 months you're gonna look back and you're like, wow, I've made progress. And that's just how gains are. Like, sometimes people get really caught up with those newbie gains where it's like, yeah, after every week I was adding some weight, and then, you know, now they're a year or two in and things are slowing down a little bit, and it's just like, that's how it is.
Yeah. Until
Be
you've
a little
been
patient.
Until you've been in that setting where it took you 3 years to get that next like goal or like landmark checkpoint, then you realize, okay, like a few weeks is really not that long at all.
Yeah.
I'm this might be a hot take, but I'm more like I'm not really a goal-oriented person myself. I'll be encouraging to people when they have goals that they want to hit, and we're going to work towards those types of things. But I mean, it sounds cliche and everything, but just being process-oriented. Like, if you asked me why am I training so hard? What goals do I have? I don't really have an answer for you other than, you know, I want to live well into my older age. So really what I want to convey upon the people that I train and the people in my community is that you want to be a person that works out. You want to be a person that, you know, follows the process just because of the process, not because you want to do some specific thing, right? And if you need a little kick, need a little boost, you need to compete. You need to do a high rocks. You need to do a marathon. And that's going to help you get to where you want to go better than me just telling you and you trying to follow the process and, you know, having difficulties. Then it probably is better for you to compete in these things, right? But I think the ultimate goal would be to just be a student of the process.
For the love of the game.
Just be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, that's just life.
Yeah.
And just kind of, if you, that goes hand in hand with that patience, is like the patience to just almost like just keep doing the thing.
Yeah.
Not worrying about the goal, like you said, and eventually you're just doing.
Yeah. It's like a spin zone. It's like, if you have a goal and like every day you are working towards that goal, and every day you don't hit that goal is almost like a failure.
Yeah.
Versus every day a pass fail. Did I do something to work myself towards what I want to do down the road? Yes, I got a win for today, right? Every day that you get a win is a win.
A win is a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
There we go.
Well, Justin has a little segment for us before we
move on to the next
move
topic.
on to the
So I'm going to go through a Claude curated list of the top 10 things for your health, and Dave and Kevin will go back and forth on guessing. Okay, I gave it no context. I just said top 10 things for your health. Okay, so Dave, you want to get started with your first guess?
Sure. I'm just gonna rip into one right away. No. Go ahead.
What? Rip into what?
Oh, I'm supposed to guess. Oh, like. Sorry,
I thought we're guessing.
I
We're guessing what's on the list.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you're guessing what's on the list.
I thought that you were gonna name something and then we had to rank it from 1 to 10.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna
That's
put
a
the
blind-
first thing you said at 1.
That's
Yeah,
a blind
ranking.
ranking. You're
Okay.
guessing the top 10 here. Okay, should we redo that segment?
No. Okay, so I'm gonna guess first, and I'm gonna go with one of the most obvious things ever, which is sleep.
Sleep is number 1 on the list.
Yeah,
Kevin.
there you go.
I'm gonna go ahead and say cardiovascular training or cardiovascular fitness.
There's nothing that specific on here, so you can go again.
Nutrition.
Whole food nutrition, number 3 on the list.
Does that include gummy bears?
Well, the zero sugar Haribo gummy bears for fiber.
Yeah. Based off of your little hint there, I'm going to say exercise.
Exercise. Daily movement, number 2 on the list.
Okay.
So 1, 2, and 3. Done. There are some things that are kind of more specific. Sorry.
Okay.
There's just that one wasn't grouped on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like community or like social health.
Okay. Social connection, number 7 on the list. Ooh. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 7.
I probably would have had that higher, but.
Well, we don't know if this is necessarily in any specific order.
Yeah.
This is just Claude approved.
This is just a random list. Yeah. Okay, so we've got sleep, nutrition, movement, friends.
Friends.
I'm trying to think of like the most general term for like relaxation techniques that aren't sleep, like something like meditation or like
stress management.
Stress management. Exactly written as stress management. Number 6 on the list.
Okay.
Mental health.
Not on the list per se.
So different kind of wording.
I'd say mental health is like extremely general.
Yeah.
And I also feel like stress management kind of ties into that. I don't know, does playing sports consider as just like daily movement?
Yeah, that'd be under the movement category.
Okay.
Think another nutrition related thing.
Getting enough fiber.
No.
Oh,
that should be way up there.
That's probably included in whole food nutrition.
Okay.
I know Claude, so him and I are buddies. So I think
so this is your list.
No,
this is you.
No.
He was actually
Claude.
just talking to himself in the mirror.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, your shot.
I'm gonna kind of try to take another crack at that mental health thing. Something like psychological well-being.
I'll give it to you. Number 9 on the list is purpose and meaning. Yeah, so that's like the other one related to stress management that's kind of mental health related.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have.
Okay, there's one on here that's a vice that you're supposed to not do.
Yeah. I was just gonna say for nutrition linked, I would say like no alcohol.
Okay, limit alcohol, number 10 on the list. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We don't have. Okay, number 4 is our favorite thing to do.
Game.
Video game.
Gaming is good for your health.
I was gonna say podcast, but
curls. Specifically, bicep curls.
Lifting
resistance
number
training.
4 is strength training. Okay. Number 8 is sun and nature exposure, and that's all of them. Oh, number 5 is hydration. So that was the nutrition one that I was talking about.
I'm surprised there's limit alcohol, but not like no smoking.
Not limit smoking. Well, I mean, they say that someone who smokes and exercises is in better shape or has better long-term mortality rates than someone who doesn't smoke and doesn't exercise.
Now, let me just take this. I'm going to
So
have...
does smoking matter?
Who is they?
I am going to have a wild take here, though. I think that doesn't mean that smoking is good. I think that demonstrates how good exercise is.
Yeah, how powerful exercise is.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here come on, guys.
But yeah, definitely, like, that makes sense. limit your exposure to those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, cool. Do you
I think we
think that
did
there's
pretty
anything? I think that's a very general list, and I think it covers everything except video games.
Yeah.
There's
That
more.
could be part of social connection, you know?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
social
social
connection, cognitive improvement.
Mm-hmm.
There's problem solving.
Communal suffering, that's also involved in video games,
Yeah.
especially online these days.
Getting good.
Getting good.
Yeah.
Doing the thing to make you good at the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Loving the process.
Loving the process.
Practicing for
Is
3
video
hours.
games the answers to
It
life?
might be.
Yes.
Practicing co-op for 3 hours before we shoot a video. All right. Well, that's not a bad list at all, I would say, for Justin's proxy Claude list.
My proxy Claude.
Okay, so we're gonna finish off with a segment. We can officially make this the beefcake roundtable. We'll just go around in a circle. So this is where we're each gonna state non-negotiables for being healthy. So very blanket statement off the top, and then we can kind of expand on why this is important, or if anybody is ready to throw a camera at the other person because there's a big fight about this, then we can have that too. We can hash it out. I'm gonna let one of you guys start with your first non-negotiable. This is something you should be doing or considering when it comes to health and fitness.
Okay, I've got one that we didn't really talk about that I like. Doing hard things. Right, something that we don't necessarily talk about a lot when we talk about fitness and well-being, but doing hard things and, you know, getting better at them or overcoming them, and then reaping whatever benefit or reward comes after doing that hard thing.
I agree with that because one of mine was pretty close to that. I was going to say it's good if fitness is fun, but it doesn't have to be. like it doesn't have to be fun every day. You can hate it. It can not be fun. It can be really hard, but that's a good thing. That's what builds up resilience.
Yeah.
And I think it's like okay to expose yourself to like this sucks, this is hard, because that's how you're gonna get better.
Yeah, you sound like me.
Echo chamber.
Yeah, big echo chamber meat table. Yeah, I'm sitting there inside the gym all the time working out, and people are like, "Oh man, I wish I liked it as much as you." I'm like, "I fucking hate this shit." You think I like this?
Yeah, no, sometimes I do like it, and sometimes I absolutely hate it and don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And like we've been doing this new kind of segment on the YouTube channel of the video games thing, of finding a way to make it more fun, and you could do that every now and then, and we do have fun and we do hard things, and it makes it way more entertaining for us and hopefully other people who might watch. But like that can help sometimes, but also more often than not we're just lifting alone in silence and just getting through it.
Yeah.
Right?
Just doing it. I have like a setup in my basement, and a lot of times I go down there and I just sit. I have my one chair, and I just sit in my chair and stare at my platform for like 10 minutes. Because I'm like, okay, time to do it. It's my time to work out, and I just gotta collect myself. It's silence in a unfinished basement in a one little tiny IKEA chair. Just time to go.
You said, Dave, that there's times you like it, but I don't actually believe you. I think that there are times that you dislike it less. And are willing
fair
to tolerate it more.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's fair.
The whole internally motivated thing, I don't actually think exists. I think it depends on what interval of time you're looking at. Do I enjoy doing my workout while I'm doing it? Maybe only in the context of, okay, I did a rep and I enjoy it. I did a rep and then I feel good. I did another rep. Okay, now I did a set and then I feel good. I'm not actually feeling good lifting the weight up off the ground or whatever the case might be. It's immediately after, and I think we have to like differentiate between this. But that's my hot take.
You're getting real philosophical.
Yeah.
It's like, what is enjoyment?
Micromanaging the lifts and the exercise.
Because I don't think we can enjoy it if it's going to be good for us, right? Then it would be a vice. I don't know. Does that even make sense? You guys talk.
Justin's gonna be spiraling all weekend.
I'm spiraling.
You're supposed to hate it.
Yeah. Do
Turn
I hate
that
this or
smile
do I love
upside
it?
down.
It's like people are like, "Oh, that's so hard." Good.
No, you might be right, but I do think sometimes like just like how someone might enjoy the pain of getting an elbow dug into them during a massage. Like there's weird. I'm not calling these people weird.
It's contrast. It's like you dig in with pain and then immediately after it, whatever pain was there before now seems lesser.
Yes, or I wouldn't even say that because sometimes it doesn't, but like it's more the context of how you view it. It's going to be your mindset going into it. If you're going into that thinking this is going to help me, so therefore it's good, you're going to be able to tolerate it a lot more and actually enjoy that process. I don't like that. If I'm getting a massage, I want like the like just spa treatment. Like that's what I want because it makes me feel better and I will enjoy that. But same thing with like exercise. If I'm all alone and having to lift really heavy weights, no, I don't enjoy it. If I'm working out with people and there's good music on and we're joking around and having good conversation or competing against each other, or doing something cool, then that context makes me actually enjoy the whole process, even if it's hard in the moment. So like maybe halfway up on curls to failure doesn't feel good, and maybe truly I don't like that, but the whole idea of doing the workout I do like because of the context around it.
Mm-hmm. Like the process of pushing your body. I don't know. I think I love that.
Yeah. Yeah,
like lifting. I don't know. There was like when I did my hack deadlift PR recently, that whole workout, I was having a phenomenal time. I was having some of the most fun I've ever had in the last like year of lifting.
Staring at the floor in your IKEA chair?
I didn't even stare at the floor of my IKEA chair. I sat down. I went, I'm gonna lift some big weight today, and then just immediately got up. And I loved every rep.
Yeah, and it's important for the layperson to understand that Kevin has days where he's sitting in his IKEA chair and just hating life, and other days where he's sitting in the same chair or nearby and just loving life, right? It's not always awesome and it's not always bad, but, you get it done anyways.
Yeah, I think that's what probably differentiates the people that do see improvement versus the people that don't. As soon as they don't feel like they're having a good day, it's just immediately, oh, my Whoop ring said my sleep score wasn't good enough, so I'm not going in the gym. It's like, no, like those are the days where you're actually going to progress because you went in, you did what you could, and now you're that much further ahead than if you hadn't have, right?
Yeah. Fitness tracking.
Yeah. Maybe that could be something that we could talk about. Your fitness tracker is not accurate.
I'm going to switch my point up.
Well,
just be like,
the stage is yours.
Stop micromanaging your life.
Yeah.
Right there with your fitness tracker and everything. That's stress management by not micromanaging everything.
Yeah, echo chamber again. That was one of mine too. Stop focusing on the little details and just do the thing, whether it's good or bad. Yeah, I think sometimes in so many contexts in health and fitness, people focus on the little tiny things that really don't make that big of a difference. Yeah. Whether it's from a nutrition standpoint, am I getting all of the supplements that I need? Well, are you actually getting the calories that you need and the macronutrients that you need? That's a good starting point. From a workout perspective, are my glutes firing appropriately? Or am I just lifting my hips up and pushing them forward? Like, am I getting in and actually doing something better than I was before, or just working at the process? That's so much more important. I think people miss that for the little tiny details. I don't want to do it if it's not perfect form. Things like that.
What even is perfect form?
Yeah.
Changes.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. Just do the big stuff. Do the steak and potatoes. Put it in your mouth and chew it. Move. Try to be in bed earlier than you were the day before. If you're not getting enough sleep, don't worry about the the blackout curtains and the like, sure, some of that stuff can help, but just try to do the big stuff first, and you'll probably see more success doing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys stole two of mine, so now I'm running out of things. My next one that I'll say, and this will just be another echo chamber thing again, but if you want a good quality of life in your older years, you need to lift weights. That's a non-negotiable. Maybe we can discuss nuance and be like, you're wrong, but
Play devil's
Yes.
advocate.
yeah.
I can't even.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say lately there's been, just based off some like evidence coming up showing like, oh yeah, you know what, like strength in old age predicts mortality quite well. So like if you're stronger, you live longer and you live better. And then people saying that that's like even more important than cardiovascular training. And that's where it's wrong. It's not that one's more important or one's less important. It's like they're their own two separate entities, and they're both equally important.
Yeah, because
They're
like
not mutually exclusive either. If you're,
Yeah.
you're breathing hard when you're lifting weights and your heart rate's going up, right? Like, so.
so, but the
on
two,
that point, there is a little bit of nuance there because some of the heart rate is just from like occlusion from
Yes.
the muscles contracting. So it's a shorter stimulus and it doesn't quite reach certain thresholds to actually produce meaningful cardiovascular fitness once you've reached like a certain baseline from it. So
I don't care what you
There's
say,
still
walking lunges is cardio.
I saw somebody who did like a half marathon but walking lunges.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Craziness.
That would
At
be-
a certain point, it is a continuum.
Yeah, it is. But I guess just to like kind of expand on what you're saying, like two of the objective markers for long-term health or reduced risk of mortality is how much lean muscle mass you have and also your VO2 max, right? So are you going to necessarily improve your VO2 max by lifting heavy weights? Sure, you might be breathing heavier, but no. So like those are two important markers to reduce your risk of mortality over time, which is a big reason why I hate running. And that's why I've just recently gotten into running. And because I hated it so much, I can't be in the hate process like you. So I had to sign up for a race to motivate me to start doing it. So I needed that goal in that situation. But yeah, they're both important. But I feel like running's a little bit more accessible, and most people will do that and they'll say like that's good enough. And people kind of overlook the fact that lifting weights is a non-negotiable if you want to have a healthier, longer, happier life.
Yeah. I would say the majority of like the general population think exercise as a blanket. Like if I'm doing cardio, I'm getting stronger. So they'll be like, I run, so my legs are strong. So I don't need to do resistance training, when that's not actually true, because you're not gaining enough muscle or strength just from running or like just from biking.
Or to Justin's point, those people that say, yeah, I can run a half marathon so my legs are strong, get them to do like one set of bodyweight lunges and they're dead, right?
Yeah.
So you need to work on both of those things. Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to do one more loop?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, go first. I want to talk more about the one that I'm going to bring up.
Okay.
A lot of my stuff was taken.
I don't know. Think about the stuff we talked about on the list, maybe.
Yeah. I guess I could kind of go like something nutrition wise, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna go on that fiber point because I think it's very important, and I think not a lot of people get fiber. So, eating enough fiber.
Agreed.
That's probably one of the best things you can do for your health.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like across everything.
Yeah. In terms of lowering your risk for future gut issues or certain types of cancers.
Colorectal
cancer, which like those rates have skyrocketed, especially in younger individuals too, right? So
yeah, fiber is just less accessible almost.
Yeah. I think it's actually pretty accessible. It's that people just aren't fans of the food that it's in, right? I think I got to see this firsthand running the nutrition challenge that we have here. That was like a huge like eye opener for a lot of people. They'd log all their food for a day and they'd be like, oh, I got like 7 grams of fiber today. It's like, okay, we got to up that big time. Like, I'm sure that there's an upper limit in terms of you're going to constipate yourself, but like you can get your fiber up pretty high in the high 20s, mid high 30s, and that's going to be really helpful for you.
I can say the upper limit is
Much
pretty high.
Yeah. Out of experience?
Yeah. I have like.
What are your favorite high fiber foods to eat?
Oh,
like a bowl of berries?
Yeah, straight up like a giant bowl of berries is really good. There's some like all right fiber in there. Like getting the mixed berries with blackberries, raspberries, blueberries in there.
Kevin just gets the frozen stuff and puts it in the microwave and eats it.
Really?
It's great.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Oats are pretty good. I like oats. And then, I mean, just like veggies in general, like a salad kind of. You're not getting tons of fiber with that, but you're still getting some. And then I really like getting like the wraps, like tortillas that have high fiber.
Yeah. Fiber fortified.
Yeah.
Fortified with fiber
They're
stuff.
like 20 grams of fiber in each. I have 3 at breakfast. So bang, start the day off at 60, and then I get another like 20 to 30 throughout the day.
Oh,
so funny. That's you're talking from experience for that upper limit. Yeah.
And beans, as a food in general, unreal. I'm changing it. Everyone should eat more beans.
That's it. That's the thing that's good for your health.
Right there.
Yeah, I've been eating like more beans lately. Just like toss a whole can in a salad.
Yeah.
You're going to get so much fiber from that. And I know I mentioned earlier that people are focusing on the little details of like, oh, what supplements do I need? But like, if you know that if you just live a lifestyle that you can't constantly prepare those foods, whatever excuse that might be, then supplement with fiber. There, you can literally just get those Metamucil gummies, eat 2 of them. That's 7 grams right there. Like that's a nice, easy kind of supplement into your day too. But realistically, more fruit and more vegetables and lentils and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people when they're trying to increase their nutrition with like and get more fiber, they just go straight to vegetables. And some of them aren't even like the greatest source of fiber. Like people be like, oh, I eat so much and I only got like 2 grams of fiber out of this serving.
You eat a whole bowl of broccoli and it's like, why did I only get like 4 grams of fiber? Yeah.
It's like, well, eat some fruits too, right? Like the skin and apples. There you're getting some more fiber there. Like I said, the berry bowl, like throw that in with oats and yogurt, a little bit of honey. You have one of the most delicious things with probably upwards of 10 grams of fiber in it.
Yeah.
And if you're using some Greek yogurt, you're getting a full 3/4 cup serving. You're getting like 15 plus, 20 plus, depending on the type of yogurt you use, grams of fiber.
Or entire
protein
tub at a time. If you're me.
Yeah, if you're Justin, you just buy a tub of yogurt and that is your lunch.
Well, mine's going to be quick because that's a great segue. The other one on my list that wasn't mentioned but it's very close to you is that you're probably not getting enough protein. You need more protein. And the like a little asterisk there is that, I mean, you see, that's like the new fad in the grocery store. You see like protein in this, like this is the high protein thing. And then you look at it and it's like, okay, there's 5 grams of protein in this instead of like 2. That's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, where you really see it is like in fast food restaurants or restaurants in general. It's like the protein offerings that they have are changed, right? There's even Tim Hortons has like a high protein latte.
Had one of those this morning.
How was it?
Good.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I went to Chipotle today. And now they're offering meatballs.
Just a bowl of meat?
So I was thinking, oh, I want to get some Chipotle today. I was going to get a burrito and then whatever, the chips and dip or something like that. Just something extra because the burrito's a little not enough for me. But then I saw this sign that said like $5 for a bowl of meat. I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly the extra little bit that I need. So a burrito and a bowl of meat.
There you go.
I think out of all of the health fads that have come out of over the last like couple of decades, this is probably one of the better ones, just so that people are a little bit more cognizant to eat it more. But again, just because something is marketed as high protein doesn't necessarily mean that it is like a great source of protein, but the message is still there: eat more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eat more of it.
I used to work with a lot more older patients and pretty like older women especially, and it was pretty typical for them to be getting like 30 grams of protein or even less sometimes of like complete protein sources in their diet in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And really simply just being like, you know what, over 4 weeks we're going to work to double that and make sure you're getting like 60 grams of complete protein a day made a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So like going from way too little to enough makes a big difference, and then you have the swing with in the fitness industry where everyone's trying to get more and more and more, going from enough to like a lot. Your difference is very little. So
Yeah,
it also depends on what kind of population you're talking about.
big time.
So I'd say typically like older individuals for sure under eating protein big time, and that plays a role in losing muscle mass and strength as you get older. So
It ties right in with that you should be lifting weights.
yeah,
You got to couple those two together. Get enough protein, you're building blocks for your muscles, lift weights, then you can use that protein to build them back up.
everyone over 60 should just adopt the meathead lifestyle.
I mean, at that point, the cardiovascular risk is probably
the
less.
way.
The long-term cardiovascular risk is a little bit less when you're in your 60s and 70s. Just eat beef every day. Not even extra lean. Just go for the Wagyu.
Yeah. 85-15.
Yeah. All right, Justin, you want to save yours for last?
Actually, there's two now. I just thought of it as we're going. Kind of one of the things that's come up, and I think that is going to be a trending thing over the next year, the rest of the year, and a couple of years perhaps, is just getting away and disconnected from your electronic devices. We have heard it a lot, and the more you think about the tech companies and what their thought process is, the more you realize how it's so bad for you, right? It's like they are trying to keep you on your phone, and it's just, you know, a microcosm of the dopamine that you're getting, right? I think in general, to generalize that even further, is to avoid cheap dopamine and only go after expensive, tough dopamine, right? So that's like basically addictions, right? Anything that's addictive is cheap dopamine, right? So whatever, it's alcohol, cigarettes, doom scrolling, those are even eating, overeating, right? That's cheap dopamine. That's why it's not necessarily good for you. And it's not even what those things do to you from a health perspective. It's like the way that it makes you feel sets you up poorly moving forward. And it kind of makes you spiral and makes you only want to do those things again, right? So the expensive dopamine becomes more overwhelming to think about, right? So I think that whole tech thing, a good friend of mine actually has gotten rid of his smartphone and gone back to like a flip phone to avoid that. He still has Instagram and stuff just on his computer, right? There's like more of a barrier of access than having your phone wherever you are in the world. So I think that's one of the things. Is there anything you guys want to add to that part?
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think I ended up putting like one of those like screen time trackers on my phone a while ago and just worked on shaving that number down a little bit. I think it's easy to get like caught on there, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I could have used that time for something significantly more productive, right? And that kind of ties into like some of these other things that we're talking about in terms of get enough protein, get enough fiber, work out. A big reason why people don't do those things is because they say they're too busy or don't have enough time, but this might be the thing that's like stealing that away.
Time a day too.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't necessarily the time that I was spending on it that I was wasting instead of doing something else. The productivity issue is not an issue for me.
Yeah.
I would only ever do that if I was sitting there with nothing to do.
Right.
All my tasks completed. It's just more the way that I noticed the way that it made me feel on nights where I would do it more. The next day I was more tired, less motivated to do anything, and just feeling like crap in general. So I think on a grand scale, it's like, okay, I'm aware enough to realize this. Think about the people that aren't aware, that they're just, this is just becoming toxic to them.
Well, it's also like, yeah, that psychological or mental aspect, because a lot of people get overwhelmed on their devices looking at, like when we say doom scrolling, like really negative stuff. So if you're waking up in the morning and immediately going on whatever app you like, and it's just like all just bad pictures and videos of all the bad things happening in the world, which is what keeps people there, which is why you see a lot more of that,
Mm-hmm.
then that's not really going to set you up for, feeling the best throughout the day either. So I think that can affect people quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then the last thing that I kind of want to expand on and get your perspectives from, this is kind of a bad group of people to talk about this with, but the number one thing that I think you can do for your health is wear a condom. so okay, no, kids are great. I think they're awesome. But no, what I mean by that when I bring that up is just, everything that we've talked about, it's all good and great. And then all of a sudden you have a kid or two kids, whether they're young and keeping you up in the night, or you got to drive them to sports and school and all of that stuff. And, when people bring that up, yeah, I get it. What's more important? Like, basically they're saying to themselves that, like, taking care of their family is more important than taking care of themselves, right? Which might be the case for some people. But what I want to talk about is how do we evolve such that having kids is bad for our health? Right? It should. I have a thought on it, but I want to get your thoughts. Like, it should be part of our lives, and we should be able to integrate it and still be healthy, right? But maybe in this world that we're living in nowadays, it's not as possible.
Billionaires.
Be billionaire.
No, well, don't they eat the babies?
They're the problem.
They're the problem?
They exploit us.
Yeah.
And then no one has time.
Well, I don't know if it's that. I think it's all the other stuff besides having the kids. And it kind of goes back to your last point of like the screen time and the dopamine hits. We live in an era of convenience
Mm-hmm.
and quick fixes and just the now. And so I think any little bit of stress, also where you said you should do more hard things, we're kind of, I feel like at a point where a lot of people don't like stress and don't want that, and will immediately turn to the quickest, easiest thing that will make them feel better. And I have no doubts that having a kid is extremely stressful. You get less sleep, you have a lot more commitments and stuff like that. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed with that, we're now at a point where, okay, I need the quickest thing to make me feel better, and that might be sitting on the couch watching Netflix instead of taking that time to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is within like certain people's power to be able to kind of combat that and make that a part of raising a kid. I've been seeing this one little guy who's been going viral all over social media. He's like this little baby, and his dad's got these plastic weights and just makes him lift weights with him and stuff like that. If you can integrate that, then I feel like there's no reason to not do some of these healthy things, but make it part of your child's upbringing.
I don't think it's fair to say that you'd be able to do that with every kid, though.
No, you're right.
Right? And you don't have a choice in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like what your kid is going to be like and what you'll be able to do with that kid, right? My opinions on it are just more like we're no longer as community-based as we once were. So I just, for some reason, think back to like like an olden village or whatever, an older village, and all the kids or a couple of the kids go off to this one parent's house, and the other parents or whatever hunter gathering and doing the things that they need to do, right? And then all of a sudden now you're splitting it up within the community, so there's only like a couple of adults that are, you know, being responsible for the kids, while the rest live the lives and do the things that they have to do and be able to live. And then you rotate and alternate and everyone takes responsibility, or maybe that's like the responsibility of like the caregiver person in your community. But we're not really a community anymore in that sense. It's like only mom and dad are responsible for the well-being of your kid, right? Instead of like having a community to help. And I think there are like ethnic groups and things like that do it more that way. Like I'm thinking like Greek, Italian, those type people with those types of backgrounds. I've like, you know, you're always picking up your nephew and your niece from whatever, like from the gym or from practice. It's not always just mom and dad, right? So it's having a helpful community, and whoever can help out helps out, and then it makes it a little bit easier for you to do the things that you need to do, such as take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a really, I was gonna say the community aspect of it too plays a factor. And I would say you don't even need to go back to like ancient human history.
You can really go back to our childhood.
Yeah, I was gonna say even like our childhood. Like I remember just like, you know, everyone playing street hockey all the time, biking to someone else's place and just like hanging out. And it was like third spaces where kids could go and like hang out and play together at the park or someone's house for the day. And I am gonna kind of like also tie that back to like the billionaires point and like economic times too, where it's like it's a lot more difficult for people to make a living and make ends meet, and
so they gotta grind that much harder.
Right, they gotta grind that much harder. There's that much less time for childcare. There's that much less time for community building. There's that much less spaces for activities and community building as well. So it's getting squeezed out from a lot of sides, especially in like in North American society, where everything's like non-walkable as well. It's very individualized, and people are at their home or their work, or kids are at their home, and then they're schooling, and there's like nothing in between, and there's just a lot less connection overall as a result too. So a lot of factors at play at one time creates this big concoction that makes having children extremely difficult now, and a big stressor instead of, you know, something magical that could be for a lot of people, right? Where they're like, oh, now I'm bringing this kid into this world, and now I don't know how I'm going to work my job, and my partner's working their job, and we got to take care of the kid and also now provide food for another mouth, and then all the other costs like sports and everything, etc. And if they're already struggling to make ends meet, then that's tough. And if they have no support to outside of that, like from a community, then
it's a much bigger
yeah
problem than just saying, you know, find time or whatever, right?
Every like you go into one layer and then you realize, oh, that layer's affected by another layer too, and you just like you can go further and further and further and just
that was the biggest one there, right there. That's a big topic, but I think that a lot of those things are important. Eat more protein, eat more fiber, work out more.
let's go back to these things.
And so just eat more protein. And lift
no, but what
weights.
I was gonna say is, and then just wear a condom, right? Like, good, but
lift heavy stuff, eat more protein, wear a condom, you're golden.
Yeah, but I think that's good, and that probably wraps up today's Meathead Roundtable. As always, if you liked it, give it a like, give it a hype, share this with your friends. Subscribe if you want to see more, and
watch it twice. Watch it on 0.25 speed to increase that watch time.
Yeah, exactly. Help us out there a little bit, and otherwise we'll see you next time.